Let's call the Civil Service Commission for September 20th, 2022 to order at 5:34. The roll call is we have 3 members here. Abel is not attending. 1 seat is empty still. Item number 1 is public comment. Nobody's here from the public to talk to us, unless you are. You're on a specific item? Okay. Move on to item 2, consent calendar.
I move for approval of the consent calendar.
Since I wasn't here, I'm not gonna.
There's all sorts of stuff on
You
there.
can approve it as a second. You just can't make the motion.
All right, then I'll approve it as a second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call. And you can vote on it because you read it.
Commissioner Atwood,
Yes.
Commissioner Rios,
Yes.
Commissioner Fry.
Yes.
We have a 3-0 vote to adopt or 1 absent.
Item number 3 is a regular business. Subsection A, 8982, consideration to adopt classification specification for senior epidemiologist. I could say that. I practiced.
Yes, good evening, Commissioners.
Go ahead.
Yes, Sabrina Mendez, Department of Human Resources. So yes, this is a item from Human Resources on behalf of the Department of Public Health. We're proposing to create the classification of senior epidemiologist. So during the last 2 years, the need for epidemiologists has greatly increased due to COVID-19 and the need to address other large projects. So additionally, the complexity of projects has evolved, making clear the need for a classification that requires more experience and a higher level skill set. Currently, there is a classification for epidemiologist. We're proposing a higher level, which is the senior. And we have Sean Kirkpatrick here, our Deputy Director for Public Health over Operations, here to answer any questions that you may have.
Please come to the podium and state your name and where you work and all that good stuff. Green light.
Sean Kirkpatrick. I work for Madera County Public Health Department.
Okay.
I have a
Anybody?
question.
Okay.
What is an epidemiologist?
That is an excellent question. They're a little hard to define. They are in charge of major data projects, research, major reporting, tracking of public health data to really help inform decision makers for creating better positive outcomes for community health.
Okay.
During COVID, although that's maybe not a great example because obviously we're talking about longer, even beyond COVID, but we're responsible for compiling a whole lot of data and doing a lot of the reporting for the state and to the public. But there's actually a lot of other instances where we do public health reporting. We've always done it. There's just a lot less attention on public health before.
So this is creating a new position.
Well, yes, sort of. We currently have 2 epidemiologist positions. This would actually allow a chance for a higher level one. So it's not creating a new position. We already have 2 positions. It's just allowing for one of the positions to potentially be as a senior in the future. It's right now just creating a new classification. Right now, an epidemiologist hired into the county would often come in with educational experience, but maybe no experience in the workforce. And unfortunately, without a senior position, it makes it really difficult to train a brand new epidemiologist because we don't have anyone with experience. It's a little bit of a unique position. So we have to then work with other counties in order to try to get someone training. But by having a senior position, this would bring someone in, hopefully, with experience as a requirement for the classification that now could be in a lead position that either someone could promote up to with a ladder from the epidemiology position, or we could hire someone with that experience to then train someone coming in without that experience.
Okay. That's kind of why they're saying there's no fiscal impact to the county. It's a minimal impact because you do have separation of the two positions.
Well, also because we were hoping we would get it, we budgeted for a senior level. So there's no impact beyond what we've already budgeted for. And there's also a lot of funding right now in epidemiology. Don't want to say if it's making up for years of underfunding to public health, but there are a lot of requirements on public health for reporting, both now and in the future. And so we take that very seriously, and then the position is really needed to help us do that.
Okay.
There's a lot of funding. Is that from the county or from state, the feds, or who?
So we did receive a lot of one-time funding from the federal government, but actually state legislature did approve, and it was in the governor's budget, some additional ongoing funding to the health department, which could help pay for this. So right now, we're still waiting on final determination on how those funds would be spent. So, but a lot of, there's been increased funding in general to health departments. A lot of it has been one-time funds due to COVID, but also for general infrastructure expansion and improving a lot of our reporting systems. But we have seen some increase in ongoing funding as well. Right now, I believe it's called the Future Public Health Funding is one of the ongoing sources of funds.
You say you have 2 right now in your department?
Correct.
Okay, who trains them?
Wasn't easy. Honestly, on the job training, we actually have an extra health epidemiologist we were able to bring in that had some experience. But it's been challenging. We have to try to find people that have retired and bring them out of retirement, contact other counties, find someone teaching it as a professor that we happen to know that we can try to bring in. But we've ran into continuing issues bringing someone in with experience, because if we don't have a position that we can really pay them at that level for that experience, we're not going to get them.
And if I may add, before we take any action, I did want to add, we did note that this was contingent on bargaining unit approval. We did provide it to the bargaining unit and did receive their approval.
Bill, do you have any questions?
Yes, thank you. Given all that's been going on with the national senior epidemiologists and whatnot and pandemic guys, and being involved in the schools have to take their ruling from, in this case, I think it's Dr. Paul.
Mhm.
Does the senior epidemiologist have a role in that, or is it still Dr. Paul's call on things like masking?
So the health officer's role is a little more global and higher level. Right now, our health officer is a co-director of the health department. So he does operate at that higher level. But the senior epidemiologist is absolutely playing a critical role in helping provide guidance to schools, but also how data needs to be tracked, how we can better operate with schools. We have a pretty close partnership with Madera Unified right now that we've been able to provide a lot of additional support, as they're our largest school district, and then try to get that rolled out to other schools as well.
So the epidemiologist or the senior epidemiologist would be more advice and consent, not, but it still goes down to the one person.
Ultimately,
Dr. Paul's position.
he has the highest level of authority for health.
So we don't have conflicting.
Correct.
Correct. And having checked, the salary looks like it's right in the range of the state and so whatnot. I did my due diligence. So I'll make a motion that we approve the position.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Atwood,
Yes.
Commissioner Rios,
Yes.
Commissioner Fry.
Yes,
We have a 3-0 vote to approve.
thank you. Glad you came in and give us that explanations.
And whoever gets hired buys the donuts.
Okay, we'll move down to subsection B, 8973, consideration to amend classification specification.
Yes, good evening again, Commissioners. So the Department of Human Resources is proposing to revise the classification of Deputy Public Health Director of Operations. Changes were made to generalize the job classification so that it was not specific to the Department of Public Health and can be utilized in other departments that may have a need for this kind of classification.
And just to add to that, specifically right now, we have the Department of Behavioral Health in need of this classification. As you guys may be aware, the county started a countywide class and comp study for those classifications that were not related to the peace officer study we just concluded. And so part of that process is that we're not essentially creating new classifications unless there are unusual circumstances or a high need for doing so. And these two items here tonight meet those needs based on administrative direction. So I just wanted to share that with you, a little bit of background.
And just as before with the previous item, this was contingent on bargaining unit approval. We did allow for the bargaining unit to review and did receive their approval. I did want to note that on the attachments, you'll see that there are two attachments, one with red strikeouts that show any revisions or additions, and then a clean copy that incorporates all of the changes that were made.
I was just curious why we've eliminated the word public health. What did I miss?
So that's what I was referring to
Yeah.
with respect to this particular classification. It has been unique to public health. However, yeah, right? Like Sean, this is Sean's position.
Yeah.
So, right?
Okay.
So behavioral health has a need for it, yes, and they actually added it in their budget, but because of the class study, this was the direction and compromise.
So
So they
if-
can actually
so-
use it.
So
Yeah.
all deputy directors of operations would have this same sort of general template.
Could be, but just so happens right now in budgets, public health, as Sean mentioned,
Right.
and then behavioral health has a new position added.
So I do understand it. Okay.
Why are you removing his and her and put their?
So that's just something that you'll see in the newer job descriptions. The trend has been to get rid of any gender identity. So you'll see that, I know.
So when we have sexual harassment cases, it's there, not.
Yeah,
his
instead
or
of
her.
him, her, his, hers, et cetera, it's more generic.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
All right, what's your pleasure, guys?
I make a motion that we accept it,
Second?
both A and B.
Just B. Item 3B.
Okay,
I second.
All right.
okay, we have a motion and a second for approval. Roll call?
Commissioner Rios,
Yes.
Commissioner Atwood,
Yes.
Commissioner Fry.
Yes.
We have a 3-0 vote to approve.
Okay, item C, 8981, September voluntary demotion for Mary Jeanette Eves.
Yes, Commissioners, this is a request for Mary Jeanette Eves, a voluntary demotion from an accounting technician 1 with the Department of Social Services to program assistant 2 with the Department of Probation. This will be effective October 1st, and this is for your review and consideration.
The only question I always have is, I understand why people do this to get on the other thing. Is this person facing any disciplinary action that they're avoiding?
So anytime a voluntary demotion is brought forward, it's at the employee's request. So if they happen to be, we wouldn't necessarily know that. This particular process is strictly voluntary and the employee requests the demotion.
Okay.
So
Okay.
hopefully that answers.
Okay.
There's a voluntary demotion. Is that going to entail her income? Is it going to be lower?
Yes, there's anytime there's a voluntary demotion under the county's rules, there is basically they're moved to the closest step in the new salary range without going above their current.
Is she in agreement with it?
Yeah, it's
Well-
actually her request to do so.
I move it be accepted.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Atwood,
Yes.
Commissioner Rios,
Yes.
Commissioner Fry.
Yes.
We have a 3-0 vote to approve.
Move on to item 4, staff reports.
I just have a quick update. Wanted to make sure that the commissioners were aware that the county did adopt a resolution and hire a new HR director. Yay, we're excited. I'm excited. His name is Roman Noriega, and he will be starting with the county October 3rd will be his first work day. He's actually going to be presented to the board Next Tuesday during public comment, his item was already approved by the board last week. Unfortunately, he had to leave. It was a very, very long board meeting. I don't know if any of you were tuning into that. There were some water items, so it was a full agenda. So he will actually be introduced this next Tuesday, but he will be at the October commission meeting. So of course you guys will get to meet him. And then we also have a new HR manager who's starting on that same day. His name is Juan Bustamante, and he's coming to us from Fresno County, where he has quite a few years of experience there. And so we'll introduce him to you as well. He's going to be over the disability compliance and our benefits program, so he won't necessarily be involved with the commission meetings, but may certainly make an appearance once in a while.
All right,
Yeah,
moving forward.
yeah. I'll make sure, I'll tell both of them. We'll double up.
All right, sounds good. Entertain a motion for adjournment
Make a motion and we adjourn.
Second.
or adjourned. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, David, because he's gone. Got us all with new passwords.